Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Mobility Revolution. We're your hosts, Nate Ryan.
And I'm Reese Moulton.
And today we have Justin Brubaker, who is he's not only a loyal car owner on the HyreCar platform who rents his 3 vehicles out to rideshare and delivery drivers, but he's also a very promising side hustle and financial content creator on YouTube who recently tried delivering groceries with Instacart during the COVID-19 pandemic. And it's really great to have you on, Justin.
Yeah,
Thanks
thank
for
you
coming
guys.
on.
Thanks so much for having me, guys. I'm looking forward to our talk today.
Wonderful. And before we really dive into things, do you mind giving us a little background about yourself and how you got to this point?
Yeah, sure. So I'm 25 years old. I live in Southern California. Just ready to be excited. I'm eager to start a business, and I found that place in HyreCar. So I didn't get started because I had this grand idea that I was going to rent out cars and I was going to make all this passive income. I actually just was, wanting to sell one of my cars and upgrade. And I saw what they were offering me for the trade-in. I was like, wow, this can't be my only option. So the next day I saw an ad on Facebook to rent out my car and make extra income. So I was like, hey, this sounds like a cool idea. I'll try it out. And it was just a great experience. I loved HyreCar and just went from there, acquired my next car and kept moving. And through that, I found a passion to share with other people and end up starting a YouTube channel where I talk about HyreCar, other side hustles that you can do to make extra money, whether it's gig economy type stuff like Uber and Instacart, or starting your own business like a rental car business.
Awesome. So can you tell us a little bit more about, your experience, during the early stages of getting started with HyreCar?
Yeah, I urge people now to take it seriously and do your due diligence before you get started. But I just kind of stumbled right on in. I didn't know, I had no idea what I was doing. My wife had a car and I had a car. I wanted to trade my car in. Well, we just we did what we could and rented out my car and carpooled to work. So it doesn't take all this money to get started. Sometimes it just takes the will to want to do something. And I find that that's like difficult for a lot of people if there's excuses. So I didn't make any excuses. I just went out there and did it. And I've had a great experience. I just reinvested every bit that I've made from the rental income to keep growing my cars, to get another one, and to get another one. And it's really cool. I like helping and providing a vehicle to people that are working for the gig economy on HyreCar. I have great renters. And yeah.
That's incredible. So what type of cars do you actually have rented out? And, can you tell us a little bit more about the earning potential that you see from each car?
Right. So I have, I rent more lower end cars. So my value of my cars are between like $3,000 and $6,000. Not renting out like 2020 Camrys or anything like that. Cheaper cars, but I find that that's more effective for my renters. The cost to the vehicle for the cost or the earning potential that they can have. I like to provide a more cost-effective vehicle so that at the end of the day, at the most they're spending $50 all said and done, instead of a 2020 Camry. For your return on investment, you'd be wanting to rent that in the higher 40s or 50, and after all said and done, they'd be spending $75. So I really like that lower end price range. Good quality cars. I have a Honda Civic. I have like a Volkswagen Jetta, 4-door sedans, that are a little more spacious and good on gas. Just your basic cars, nothing too crazy, just kind of normal things. So I have those 3 vehicles that I rent out. I've been renting for about a year. And I say about on average, I make $500 per month per car profit after it's all said and done, after my maintenance, insurance, etc., that I spend. So I think that's pretty good return for something that costs $3,000 to $5,000 to see $500 a month. That could pays for itself in about a year.
Yeah, absolutely. And, why have you chosen HyreCar, I guess, over the other car sharing platforms? And it seems like you've experimented with a few. So, why HyreCar?
I just love the long-term rentals, on other platforms, the turnover rate, you got to rent it. And that's the most work when you have to rent and pick up and drop off and clean and pick up and drop. It's so much work. But with HyreCar, this is a lot of people's source of income. And so they're reliant on the car and want to keep it for longer. I mean, I've had someone that's had my car for 7 months. I have another renter that's had my car for 5 months to date. So I don't really have to do much besides keep in contact, maintain the vehicle. I'm done. I work, an hour or two a month to maintain that vehicle. So I love HyreCar because of the customers, of the renters, because it's easy. It's more passive. Yeah.
Awesome. And what would you say are a few things that you've learned over time to make the experience as enjoyable and as profitable as possible that maybe some other people might not consider before renting out their vehicle on HyreCar?
Yeah, I think it's all about customer service, thinking of the renter above yourself and providing like what's best for them. I can't tell you how many times I've had a renter come and drop off another car and come to me and say, because the renter didn't take care of the car, it was dirty, they never answered their phone, and they were difficult to get a hold of. And so just providing and being all about them, is the car to your liking? Is there any sounds or anything that I need to fix? And so it's extremely important. And I do my best to like just whatever I can do for them, whether it's simple things like providing a phone mount so that they're driving a little bit safer. And those little things kind of get glossed over, and forgotten about. But sometimes it's just the little things, making sure the car is really, really clean because of their ratings, if with Uber, if they get rated on the cleanliness of their vehicle. And so really understanding where they're coming from and providing what's important to them,
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great. And I just want to jump in here. I have to say, I've been following your YouTube channel, I think probably since you posted one of your first videos. And the content that's coming out, especially on the HyreCar side and the car sharing side, is fantastic. With that, and if those who are listening, go check it out. He provides a lot of really great tips on what to do in certain situations and how to continue making more passive income. What have you learned over the last year renting with HyreCar on how to keep long-term renters and how to keep drivers in the car for a long time?
Yeah, so I think just again providing the best experience for the renters and just keeping your occupancy rate up is like just really customer center and focused, and by just really focusing on keeping the renters that you do have, keeping them happy, and just providing that, I think, is the best way.
Mm-hmm. Do you stay in constant communication with the drivers while they're out with your vehicles?
I think more so at the beginning of the rental, it's a little more communicative. Hey, how does this work? And as the rental extends, I'd say past 2 weeks, it becomes more few and far between when we talk.
Right.
Yeah.
And so this is something we've been hearing from a lot of our car owners, really, with COVID-19 happening and the rideshare business really taking a big hit. A lot of drivers are making the switch to food and package delivery. How has the process been for you switching the drivers in your cars over to food and package delivery? And what concerns or any questions have you heard from the drivers?
Yeah, I think obviously if there's no rides on Uber, we want to do something different. So
Exactly.
Most of my renters are ahead of the schedule before I caught on, but they're out there to make, to pay for the rental, to make a source of income for themselves. And so with gig economy, I think everything, there's like this ebb and flow. Sometimes it's Uber, sometimes it's Grubhub, sometimes it's, I think with everything, it's just kind of, you learn to move between platforms and be experienced in a lot of things. And so I like to be in the know and understand where my renters are coming from. And that's why I try to Instacart. I know it's hot right now. And I've told and called all my renters, hey, if you guys haven't signed up for Instacart, please sign up, because you're going to have the earning potential right now is astronomical compared to any other of the gig economy stuff. So the flow from like traditional rideshare over to deliveries has been pretty easy. And, I think most of my renters are out there grinding.
Nice.
So, yeah, I mean, clearly you can give them some tips from your actual experience working with Instacart recently. But before we get into that, what advice would you have for other people out there that are thinking about renting their spare cars out for passive income, or potentially buying, additional vehicles as an investment opportunity to rent out with HyreCar?
Right. I think one of the most important things is just like making sure before you start, go watch my YouTube channel. No, no, just kidding. No,
no, really. What is
absolutely.
What's your YouTube channel?
Justin Brubaker, right there. Yeah.
All right.
And
comment, like, and share.
Yeah, over 30 videos. So for HyreCar only. So no, but seriously, just really taking care of and understanding before you go out. Make sure you get your Uber and Lyft inspections done, and like do that before you list your car. Make sure all your maintenance is squared away and that your car is in good operating condition. If you think it might need to be done in the next month or two, go out there and get it done, because the worst is when it's on a rental and it breaks down on the side of the road. So if you know or you're aware of it, just fix it before you get in there. Make sure you put a GPS in your car. That's extremely important. I think for protecting your asset and knowing where it's at. Sometimes, I've had an experience where someone doesn't return the car. Having a GPS to protect yourself is extremely important. And I would say the last thing is understanding your policies and your processes before you go out and rent. I've had people tend to go late or don't pay for the rental on time. So at what point do you say, okay, is this rental, when do I ask the person to pay? When do I say, hey, can we end this rental? What are my processes for when someone calls me at 11 o'clock at night and says, I have a popped tire on the side of the road, what do I do? If you can think about those things before they happen, and before they do happen, and kind of have an idea of what you should do, I think you'll be way ahead of schedule and off to the races.
Wonderful. So I want to talk about your experience doing Instacart. I'm assuming this is the first time you've tried it. Mm-hmm. And can you tell us a little bit about the experience? Because the experience right now is completely different than if you would have done it 6 months ago.
Right.
Can you tell us a little bit about that experience, and why did you test it? What made you want to get out there and give it a shot?
I just heard word of mouth that Instacart is really, the increase in orders is huge right now. So I thought, hey, I would love to go out there and try it. I would love to go see what this is all about. I had never done it before. I signed up about 2 weeks ago and did my first batch maybe a week after that. So I've only been doing Instacart for about 10 days, 2 weeks. So I'm not an expert by any means in Instacart. But I had an amazing experience. It was really easy to get started. I mean, I just went out there and hustled. I did my first week. And I was just like, wow, this is so cool. And I really like Instacart. I'll keep doing it even after COVID.
Right. What was the sign up process like? How much did you make? How long did you work to make that much?
Okay.
Can you dive into that a little bit?
Yeah, so I signed up on a Friday evening. It was really simple. It's just basic information, name, phone number, date of birth, that kind of thing. Nothing out of the ordinary. I was approved on Monday, so it took the weekend, so it wasn't very long. And then they send you out a card in the mail. I got that probably 2 days following after that. So the sign-up process was smooth, easy, happened really quick. And I went right out there and did it that very first day. I did 1 full week. I do have a full-time job, so I worked outside of my work schedule. So I went, after work on Monday, after work on Wednesday, after work on Friday, that kind of thing. So I worked a total of 21 hours my first week, and I made over $560. So
Oh, wow.
well
Nice.
over $22 an hour. I was shocked when I went and did. I was like, wow, this is that's pretty good. So Instacart, yeah, it was really good, and had seen the same numbers since. I've the following week seen the same numbers, making over
Wow.
$20 an hour.
That's fantastic. And
That's awesome.
have you had any issues with doing orders and potentially finding substitutions or replacements, or just difficulty communicating or working with the people ordering the deliveries?
Yeah, I mean, right now there's a lack of supply on the shelves. Toilet paper, hand sanitizer, Lysol wipes, that kind of thing are in almost every order and almost never on the shelf. So it's extremely difficult when people are looking forward to getting their toilet paper or their paper towels and there are none. So other than that, I would say for the most part, everything's been pretty seamless. There's only been one store that I went to where there was like next to nothing. And had to substitute quite a bit of items. But once you figure out how to substitute and make better decisions, because that's probably one of the most difficult part of Instacart is what would this person like? If there's no 2% milk, should I get whole milk or should I get fat free? And just making the best decision for them. So after you do it for a while and you get in the flow, you kind of understand my best choice is, and the app is really helpful in suggesting what the next best thing should be. So substitution's been really easy, and other than the lack of supply in those certain products right now, it's been pretty good. I've had solid customers, pretty good customers. I've only had one bad experience with a delivery.
Gotcha. So I did actually get a chance to go to watch your video and kind of take a look at your experience. It seemed great overall. And you mentioned something about Costco allowing Instacart drivers to skip the line to get in and check out, which is amazing. Were there other stores that didn't allow you to do that? Or were there, I guess on the flip side, were there additional stores that would allow you to do that outside of just Costco?
Yeah, I did the same thing at Aldi's. So we were able to skip the line and just went up to the front. Usually when there's a line outside, there's someone manning it. And I just let them know I'm with Instacart. And yeah, I haven't had anyone tell me, no, go wait in the line. So it's kind of really cool that they're letting the Instacart shoppers go in, understanding that the line is, just being able to go ahead and write in. And in Costco, the checkout line, that can get quite long right now. So they're even letting you skip the checkout line and just go right up to the register. So yeah, it's extremely helpful in getting the batches through and keeping up your times, because Instacart shoppers, you have like a time on like how many seconds you took per item type thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool. So you also mentioned something about tip baiting, which is something I've never heard before. Could you tell us a little bit more about that, like what it is and, how drivers can try and avoid it if possible?
Yeah. So there's a phenomenon going on right now where there's so many orders that when someone doesn't tip, you might get your order hours from now or potentially even, way later in the day. So some people are raising the tip. You tip beforehand with Instacart. So before you accept an order how much the order is, how much, tip you're going to receive. But after you deliver, the customer has 3 days to change the tip, either up or down. And oftentimes people do raise the tip because of, providing excellent experience and good customer service. But some people are providing an extremely large tip. So, $30, $40, $50 to get their orders quicker, and then reducing the tip to next to nothing. So I'm cautious about it. I wish there was like a review system on customers, just like there's a review system on the shoppers. They get to see our reviews and we're reviewed as shoppers. I wish we could see that as a customer before I accepted, hey, the last 3 shoppers got tip baited from this person. Yeah. I go, okay, what's a fair tip for this? If they're offering me a 3 times what I think I should, a 10% or 15% tip should be, I'm just a little more cautious. Don't say that I did it. I did an order that tip, they only paid $14 from Instacart, but they tipped 50. So that would have been like a red flag, but they didn't reduce the tip, but potentially, they could have, it could have been a tip bait scenario.
Gotcha. Okay. So I guess, what are a couple of things that Instacart shoppers can do to really maximize their time on the road?
Yeah. So one of my best tips is to go and try all the stores in your area. So, there's Costco, Stater Brothers, Winco. It just depends on what area you're in, but there can be a plethora of stores. And I have chosen 3 stores that I like to shop at. And I only accept orders for the most part from those stores so that I can shop faster because I know where everything's at. I know where the aisles are. I know how to, maneuver. I know where the best, so you can speed up your process when shopping, because one of the worst time wasters is when you're on one end of the store and you completely forgot that can of soda. So you got to go all the way back to the other end and then go all the way back to so that is one of the biggest difficulties. But as long as you go slow and steady while you're doing it and don't rush and pass anything up, and think of the customer first, because I've seen other shoppers and heard other shoppers saying, if they don't have an item, I just refund it. I keep going. I don't care what they think. I'm trying to get it done as quick as possible. But if you just, slow down, maybe the item was there. It was just in a different shelf or something like that. So.
Got it.
Great. Thanks for sharing all that, Justin. This is a good insight on how to get going with Instacart. And for those of you watching, Instacart is still hiring, I think, close to about 300,000 shoppers. Mm-hmm. And so if you're looking for something right now, I think Instacart is really the hot ticket item for you right now. As some of the delivery companies you've heard are putting wait lists out there for food delivery. So go ahead and check out Instacart, and it may be a good option for you. But I want to jump back to being a car owner and, going through your YouTube channel prior to this interview. As a brand, there's a lot of scary video titles on there. But can you explain some of the oddball scenarios that you've seen, and how did you handle those?
Yeah. So like with anything, this is a business. If you're renting out your cars, you have to look at it in the mindset of a business, and there's going to be great people. I've had amazing people that I that have rented my cars. We still talk. They're really cool people. They were thankful, grateful, but just like the flip side, there were bad people that didn't take care of the car, damaged the car, smoked in the car. That's probably one of the biggest, I would say, problems are like people smoking in the car. So I think that people have one bad experience and get scared, and those are probably the titles that you're seeing, and they're probably a little clickbaity, and people like to see, oh my gosh, HyreCar renter destroyed my car or something like that. So I wouldn't be afraid of those kinds of things. I would say, hey, go out there and try it for yourself. Give it a couple shots. Even if you had a bad experience first try, give it another try. Get back up. Keep going, because we only fail when we stop and we give up. If you keep trying again, I've had someone, I'd say just my worst experience. I had only been renting for, a month on the platform. So I didn't really know everything. I was, still green. And I had a renter just refuse to bring my car back. And I didn't have a GPS in the car. And there was nothing we could do. We didn't know where the car was. She blocked HyreCar's phone number, blocked my phone number, and just refused to bring the car back. And so there's a process that I learned that we have to go through to get the car back. But when I eventually did get the car back, it had been smoked in. There was makeup, there was damage on the outside. So, there's a process that we work through, and everything works out in the end. But I would just say be careful of people that are naysayers. Everyone wants to be negative, and I would say just be encouraged and get out there and give it a shot. I've had a great experience with HyreCar.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
Can you provide, for any car owners who are looking to potentially do this in the future, can you provide them, some final last words or advice that you may have on how to get started and, maybe how to rent your car for the first time without as much fear.
Mhm. Yeah, I would say just don't get analysis paralysis and just kind of overanalyze the situation. I would say get started with what you do have. You don't need to go out there and buy a brand new $20,000 car to rent it out. If you have a spare car, you are a two-car household where you or a spouse have another car, rent out one of them and carpool for a little bit to try it, to test the waters, to dip your toes in and see what it's like. I think it's a really great business model to earn passive income, to have investments that are producing like little mini rental properties. Almost like every car is like a little rental property and you're getting rental income every month. So it's a great experience. I would say just don't get afraid to start. I would say go ahead and sign up today. Go ahead and just list your car and try it and see what happens. If worst case scenario you don't like it and you don't do it, and that's fine. But uh, I've had a lot of people that I've talked to that have started. Obviously, from my YouTube channel, I communicate to a lot of people, and everyone has had an excellent experience, and is continuing to just get more cars. And I think if it's something you're interested in, hey, go ahead and take the leap.
Thanks, Justin. And for those of you watching, if you do want to learn more, if you're watching on YouTube, you can click the link below in the description or give us a call. Our number is 888-688-6769. We have agents available 24/7 to help you out there. Justin, it's been fantastic having you on the show. I appreciate everything you brought to us today.
Yeah.
And everyone else, join us again for another episode of Mobility Revolution.
Well, thanks, Justin.
Right, guys.